It's not going to be great for the folks in Jacksboro, but top 5 questions for Baylor basketball as they now head, unfortunately for them, into the offseason, which they had hoped they were not going to do. Number 5, how do you replace Jerome Tang? And look, obviously this is probably, Alvin Brooks, John Jacobs, Bill Peter, everybody kind of takes this, takes one step to the right, and you're kind of maybe promoted. Some guys, maybe somebody goes with them. Who knows what happens, with Jerome Tang, but everybody maybe gets promoted. But it's not just replacing him on the staff who does his job. He's a great recruiter.
His presence.
Everything that he does. So how do you replace that?
You have Jared Nunez, who might get bumped up unless he's one that leaves, or Aditya Malhotra, who's been, of course, kind of like the operations guy. Maybe Jerome wants to take him with him because he wants somebody around him that understands the system. And then there's somebody else that might be coaching elsewhere, a former player that Scott might have on his radar as well.
Yeah, I mean, who does Jerome attempt to take, if anybody? I mean, that's the question. I mean, you want Alvin Brooks with him? I mean, like who goes? That's the question. Is it lower level, like when Joey McGuire left, where he takes a bunch of GAs with him? That's a legit question, and until we know for sure who's coming and going, it's kind of hard to sort of peg the stat. But I have no doubts. I mean, we just rattled off all these guys who are head coaches now in college basketball. There's like 4 or 5 of them that have all come from the Scott Drew tree. So, Jerome Tang's just going to be another healthy, strong branch, hopefully, and we'll see how much that even splinters off. But I have no doubts about Scott Drew being able to, uphold this staff, and they've got a lot of great young minds that have been around for years now that, are probably ready for bigger opportunities.
And that's probably one of the things that makes Jerome Tang feel comfortable enough to leave, and they wanted to accomplish something. He and Scott, they did it last year, and then it gave him the ability to be choosy, like Scott said in the press conference. When he said that, I said, yeah, there's a good one he's going to get, and Kansas State's a fantastic job.
Had he left 2 years ago, not a part of that national championship, he could always be a part of that. And I'm happy as I could possibly be for him.
Number 4, when will everyone be healthy? And this is more of a question. This is probably some lingering injuries and things. Look, Adam Flagler's got some stuff that's probably hanging around. The biggest one is Jonathan Chamwa-Chachua. When are you going to get him back?
If at all.
If at all, because that's a really severe injury. I'm not betting against Everyday John for anything. They'd have to saw that leg off before.
What a great story that will be.
Before he wouldn't be able to play. So, but that's going to be a big thing. When can you get healthy? When can you kind of get everybody back in rhythm? Because some of those injuries are late in the season.
And
right?
if LJ Cryer, whether he comes back or plays somewhere else, which is part of that smoke, will he be in his foot healthy? Is there going to be surgery, whatever it might be, or is he just going to be moving on?
That was the frustrating part about this year. Was just they were so disjointed. Like you never knew who was playing on what night or who's available and who's not. I don't think anybody expected necessarily LJ Cryer to miss every single moment of the tournament. You felt like, okay, he missed some time here. They're just getting him ready for the tournament, but we didn't see anything. So, yeah, there are some huge questions about just the roster and staff in general, but the health has got to be first and foremost on that, because that was really what was their killer. And I wish we could have seen what this team at full health could have done, but how many other teams should have won national titles if somebody wasn't hurt? There's dozens of them. So that's just part of the deal. Last year they were blessed with health. This year not so much, but yeah, it would be great to see a healthy roster next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, when will the incoming freshmen, how much can you get from them? The Keontae George, which I think they expect a lot from Keontae George.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, just talking to coaches, he's signed, so he's a done deal. But, yeah, this guy's 6'5", a guard who can score. Now, again, you have your system, but this guy can put it up. And that's why the concerns about who's back or not, it is offset a little bit, you would think, because this kid is elite.
Yeah, Dylan Hunter,
I said RJ Hunter.
Yeah,
he's the kid.
Dylan Hunter, but I mean, and maybe look, Dylan Hunter might be developmental. We'll see. But, Keontae George, I know they expect a lot from him, but again, he has to do it once he gets here. So, and I think he will, but that's something you have to wonder about it and kind of guard against, just in case he's not ready. You never know. I mean, it's a big jump from high school to college.
Well, they're also bringing a 5-star center in Joshua Ojianwuna, and you mentioned Dylan Hunter as well, who's a 4-star guy. So among others, so they're going to have some incoming guys with a lot of talent, but they haven't been one to really rely a lot on on young players necessarily, like true freshmen to come in here and make an impact because they've been very senior laden and very veteran laden over the last, little stretch run. So that will be, again, until we know what this roster looks like, it's hard to peg, who's going to play what or who's going to do what. I feel very confident Keontae George is going to see a ton of time next year. But, if James Akinjo comes back or what have you, then, that changes things, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And that gets to our last two questions. The first of which is, who can you get in the portal? Because they're going to get somebody in the portal. They are. Why would you not? It's there. You go shopping at the basketball store, you can get somebody in the portal. There'll be people who want to come, there. And granted, there's obviously some attrition there with the portal, but they're going to get somebody. But we don't know who that is.
They might lose somebody. They might gain somebody. Yeah.
It's the portal is the law of the dry cleaner. Sometimes you lose something. Sometimes you get something.
It's like putting socks in a dryer.
James Akinjo, Davion Mitchell, and you can go
Jared
back. Jared Butler. You can go back even.
Maceo Teague.
Exactly. Just keep going and going with the transfers that have had impact. So, they'll definitely dip into it. Just a matter of what position do they need to go dip into it for.
Yeah. And one player who was going to just kind of sit there and watch and maybe on occasion became a godsend in some ways. He has flaws, but my God, Dale Bonner.
No, but Dale Bonner,
he brought to the table.
He's the classic Scott Drew, A.J. Walton, King McClure, Jake Lindsey, tough nose little dude.
Yeah. Another name I forgot. Jonathan Chama-Chachua was also a transfer.
There you go for UNLV.
They will definitely hit the transfer portal.
Yeah. And number one, the biggest question, who's coming back? There are guys, L.J. Cryer, James Akinjo, Flo Thamba, Matthew Meyer, all of them.
Flagler.
There's nobody on the team who has to leave right now that are out of eligibility. So they've got tons of guys that have eligibility left. So who's going to use it? Who's not?
Yeah, I think you feel good that Jordan Turner's going to be back and Flo Thamba will be back and
Flagler, I think Flagler will be back.
Flagler should be back, you would think. But yeah, and then you know who's coming in. Your Love Days, your Langston Loves, those types of guys. But yeah, Jeremy Sohan has a decision to make, which is kind of crazy. It's been a very short amount of time since he's been on campus, really. But, he's somebody who's got a decision to make. James Akinjo has a decision to make. Kendall Brown, just 1 year, but he's got a decision to make. So, and then you can keep going on and on. L.J. Cryer. So, yeah, until we know what those decisions are, it's kind of hard to peg anything else because do they need to go get a transfer guard, forward, center? It all depends on who decides to go to the NBA. And it could be 5, 6 guys. It could be 1 or 2. And I hope it's 1 or 2. But until we know for sure, going to be waiting eagerly on these announcements.
Yeah, if we knew everybody, If the NBA wasn't an option for anybody, if it was just like, well, these are good players, but they're not NBA guys, then we could be like, look, they'll get somebody in the transfer portal, but you kind of know who their starters are next year. This team's got a lot of people with a lot of options right now. So there you go.
Tomorrow, great stuff, Paul. Thank you very much. Tomorrow,